Most people spend 30, 40 years preparing for retirement and still get it completely wrong. Not because they didn't save enough, not because they didn't plan, but because they started with the wrong question. And that one mistake, invisible, almost impossible to notice when you are making it, is what turns what should be the best chapter of your life into the most confusing and empty one. I know this because I lived it. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through it step by step. If it sounds good to you, let's dive right into it. When you think about retirement planning, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Money, savings, pension calculations. That's where almost everyone starts. And honestly, that's exactly where the problem begins. Because retirement isn't a financial event, it's a life event. And when you put money at the center of it, you end up building a life around a number instead of building a number around a life. I did it myself. It took me years to understand how wrong that approach was. Stay with me until the end because I've also prepared something for you, a free resource that can help you start this process today. Here's what reengineering of retirement means in simple terms. It means putting on your pants before your shoes. You start with purpose. You end with financial strategy, not the other way around. Now, what does that actually look like in practice? That's exactly what we're going to cover. But before we get there, I need to tell you something about retirement that most people were never taught. Here's the thing about retirement. It doesn't arrive as one moment. It comes in waves, 4 of them to be precise. And if you don't recognize them, you would spend years wondering why you feel so lost. And when everything looks fine from the outside, phase 1, the vacation. The alarm clock disappears, the commute is just a bad memory. You travel, you reconnect with family, you do all the things that were always someday. It feels like a reward, because it is. But here's what nobody tells you. It doesn't last. Phase 2, identity loss. This one hit me hard. It took less than a month before the question appeared. And what now? And honestly, that question is heavier than it sounds. For decades, your work gave you structure, it gave you purpose, colleagues, problems to solve. And then, almost overnight, it's all gone. The meetings are gone. The projects are gone. Even the people you thought were friends, most of them were just colleagues. What fills that space? That emptiness is where depression quietly enters for many retirees, and nobody talks about it openly enough. Phase 3, experimentation. You start searching, you try things, an old hobby, a new interest. I focus on marathon running, a real passion of mine, until a heart problem ended that rather quickly, I would say. But the searching itself is a good sign. It means you have accepted that crosswords and bird watching aren't enough. And phase 4, reinvention. This is where everything shifts. This is where reengineering of retirement becomes possible. And this is where I found the formula that changed my life. Stay with me because what comes here next is the part most retirement videos skip completely. So what is the formula I'm talking about? If you have watched my previous video on Ikigai, you already have some context. If you haven't, don't worry, my friend, I will link it below. Ikigai is a Japanese concept, and at its core, it asks 2 simple questions. What do you love to do, and what are you generally good at? Now I want you to resist the urge to rush through this, because this isn't a weekend exercise. This is step one of reengineering your retirement. If you treat it culturally, you will get cultural results. Here's what I mean with that. Most people come up with an answer in, let's say, 10 minutes and move on. The real answer, the one worth building your next chapter around, takes time, honesty, and more than one attempt. Ask yourself, what would you do every single day? Not for a week or two, but for the rest of your life. And not to get tired of it. That's your anchor. That's what everything else is built on. And here's what surprised me most when I finally found mine. Once you have identified what you love and what you are good at, the next question is the one that stops most people cold. Does anyone actually care? This is where so many retirees give up before they even start. They assume the answer is no. I almost did the same, but the digital tools available today, the internet, AI, social media, forums, communities, you name it, make it easier than ever to find out whether there is a real interest in what you have to offer, not theoretically, actually. When I investigated my own niche, the skills and experience I had accumulated over decades, I was genuinely surprised. Not just that people were interested, but at the level of interest. And that brought me to the question I least expected to be asking at my age: can I actually earn money from this? I'll be honest with you. When I first realized that there were people actively searching for exactly what I knew and willing to pay for access to it, I raised my eyebrows more than once, because we are conditioned to think that retirement means you have stopped contributing economically, that your productive years are behind you. That's simply not true. The skills you have built over 30 or 40 years of work represent a depth of knowledge that younger professionals are often desperately looking for. Consulting, coaching, teaching, writing, mentoring. The avenues for turning expertise into income have never been more accessible. And here's the important part. This doesn't have to replace your pension. It just has to be meaningful, because a small income from work you love does something a pension alone never can. It gives your days a reason to begin. But then comes the practical question: how do you actually build something around it? This is where I made a costly mistake, and how I eventually found a solution that finally worked for me. My first instinct was very traditional: franchise, physical business setup, the kind of structure I had seen work in the corporate world. Then I looked at the numbers, and at my stage of life, the idea of a major financial investment with all the risk and complexity that comes with it felt completely wrong. I didn't want stress. I wanted to build something purposeful, sustainable, and calm. So I went looking online. And honestly, most of what I found was not encouraging. Quick fix promises, overnight schemes, things that smelled like traps from the very first sentence. I made a few costly trial and error mistakes, and then I found something completely different. What caught my attention wasn't the promise of fast results. It was the opposite. This platform was honest. It would give me all the tools I needed, but it required an entrepreneurial mindset, a real effort, no shortcuts, No guarantees except this. Do the work and the work will produce results. That kind of honesty at that point in my search felt like a breath of fresh air. So I tried it. That was over a decade ago, and I'm still on the same platform today, which tells you everything you need to know about whether it worked. The platform has evolved constantly, and now with AI tools integrated directly into it, the process of building a complete online presence around your expertise is more accessible than it's ever been before. If you want to take a look, the link is in the description below. Reengineering of retirement-free training. No pressure, no obligation. Just have a look and see if it resonates with you. But before you do anything, I want to leave you with the most important thing that I have learned through this entire process. The platform doesn't matter if this part is missing. The niche doesn't matter. The tools don't matter. What matters is this. Why are you doing it? Reengineering of retirement is not a shortcut. It's a marathon. And I say that as someone who has used to actually run them, actually 24 races. You have to know clearly and deeply why you're willing to do this, what it means to you, who it's for. Because when the motivation dips, and it will, I promise you, that's what pulls you back. Purpose is not a nice extra. It is the foundation. Without it, no formula, no platform, and no strategy will hold. With it, and I say this from lived experience, retirement can generally become the best chapter of your life. Not despite the challenges, but because of how you face them. If something in this video landed for you, if a part of you recognized your own experience in what I described, then here's what I would invite you to do. Watch the Ikigai video that will appear on the screen here at the end of this video. It goes deeper into the foundation of this whole process, and it may give you the clarity you have been looking for. And if you feel like sharing, leave a comment below. Tell me where you are in your retirement journey. What resonated? What questions came up? I read everything in comment, and of course I respond to them. Because this isn't a one-way conversation. It's a community of people figuring out the same thing. How to make the years ahead genuinely worth living. I'll see you on the other side.